Recording. Okay, everyone, welcome for this special webinar that our global partner Ineke Hurkmans, where she will share her story about IamNL, her latest startup. Ineke is our global partner, the Female Wave of Change global partner on with the Jump movement, a tool I am sure that she uses in IamNL. So really love to hear more from her and how this works and how she has this this organization built in such a short time and being successful. I think especially because these are best practices that we need to learn from and that can be used in more and more countries, I do believe. Not just, you know, you are very locally right now in the Netherlands. It can be, of course, duplicated into new areas, but also into other countries. So it's very interesting well, experience that you have right now and you want to share with us. So that's good. For those who don't know me, my name is Ineke Hurkmans. I'm the founder of Female Wave of Change. And for tonight, I'm your host. So you will see more of me. What for now is very important because before I'm going to close this screen, during the webinar, all microphones will be muted. Very important. The microphone from the speaker is unmuted. And if you have any questions or feedback or whatever, please do use the chat box so that we can pick up everything that is going on and can ask Ineke the question so that she doesn't have to look at it. Only speakers use their camera. Well, that is what we normally do, but it's okay to use your camera. We're not such a big group, so please do use your camera. But be aware, this event is recorded and used online. And by joining this event, you give Female Wave of Change permission to record and use the recordings online. So it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel tonight or tomorrow, so you have a chance to look at it again. Well, I'm going to close this this screen so that we have more, that we see each other a lot better. The special thing about Zoom is that you have choices on how big you want to see the speaker. If you use speaker view, it is especially the one that is speaking who will be on big screen. So, well, Ineke, welcome tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Ineke.
Because we have people listening from all over the world. So welcome today. And, you know, it's the Female Wave of Change Human Rights Month, you know, and there's so much going on in human rights issues, but the group who is really affected are the refugees. And, you know, there's so many people worldwide that are affected by war, economic problems. You know, there's so many things that make people decide to leave their home country and end up somewhere in a very strange country, don't speak the language, have to build everything from scratch. And you're someone who is supporting them. And I really would like to hear your story, but also very much about why this group and why are you doing this?
All right. So thank you, Ineke, for the opportunity to tell the story about IamNL and to share this with the world. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who's watching and listening. Yeah, I'm pleased to be here and tell my story. For the next hour, I love to have this being an interactive session because, of course, I can talk a lot. Ineke knows me, we know each other for years already, and she knows how easy I can talk. So when I'm on stage, it's like I'm just rattling. But I really love for you to share your questions or your insights or maybe your worries. And please do that because I always love to have interactive sessions. And I wouldn't feel so lonely also being the one who is entertaining. So that is an invitation to all of you who are live with us in this recording. So yeah, I think let's just start. And
The floor is yours, so start
Yeah.
whatever you like. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Ingun. Thank you. I was just wondering where should I start, because the entrance of my story is maybe it is about 30 years ago. I think maybe it's about 30 years ago. I wasn't aware that this experience that I had 30 years ago would affect my work in this time of my life. Because 30 years ago, I fell in love with a refugee, with Ben, and he's a Kenyan refugee. He was invited by the NATO because he had worked in his country. He was a student in Nairobi, and he worked at the student union and the student uprising. There was a lot of resistance to the regime at the time, and he was really in danger. So the NATO invited him to come to the Netherlands and stay here to be safe. And he did, and he didn't have to go through the whole of a process to get your license to stay. He already got it. That was really special. And 30 years ago, of course, there wasn't this many refugees as we have now. So he had a very luxurious, if you can call it luxurious, position, coming here, settling down, and starting to make a living. And he went here. Also, he went to Dutch lessons, like everybody else needs to do. It's called inburgering. It's called what is a good English word for that? Not sure what the English word actually is, but still, if someone knows it, please do it in the chat, because I'm looking for the word. Actually, it's something refugees are obliged to do for their permit to be given. They need to have these exams, and over the years the exams have been really complicated. Now 30 years ago, Ben, he also started, and we had a really nice romance for about 2 or 3 years, and then I got pregnant, and we got a very beautiful daughter. She's called Nikita. But our relationship sadly didn't last, and maybe that was also due to all kinds of cultural differences and different visions on life. I don't know, but our daughter Nikita, she is still, she's the fruit of our love, of course, and we have a very, very, very close and warm connection to the family in Kenya, and we visit them. And we're really attached and connected to them, which is really cool, because we have now extended family in Africa. And maybe this is the experience that I have, was one of the big motivators to start off this company that I built from, I think we started it by thinking and talking about it in 2017. End of 2017 in the beginning, with my business partner, because there was this opportunity. Of course, I am already being an entrepreneur for 17 years, and the last 7 years I've been working with my method called Jump Movement. And Jump Movement is a conversation method that really empowers people in a very easy way to take the next step in their development, or in the ambitions that they are seeking and want to fulfill. And we had this offer of thinking about, could this method of Jump Movement help in a project for refugees? And I started thinking, I said, yeah, why not? I mean, we have doing Jump Movement, I've been doing Jump Movement with so many different kinds of people in so many different parts of the world. It's been done in all areas of the world, like in North America, South America, Asia, Africa. Lots of people are jumping in Kenya, which is of course very nice. I said, yeah, why not? So then that question started to develop, and it turned out that we had the chance to look at being the founders of a company that was really working on helping refugees get a better future in the Netherlands. for you to understand why we build it like we build it, it's actually very good to know a bit about the background of refugees and their world in the Netherlands, because that is very, it's very important to know. In the 2014 and 15, 16, and a bit of 17, tens of thousands of people came from the area of Syria, of Afghanistan, of Iran, Iraq, and that area, Middle East. And also lots of people came from Africa, from Eritrea, from Somalia, from Ethiopia. And they came because of the situation in their country where there was war, where there was regime, like in Eritrea, we have very, very dictatorial regimes, and people have no freedom at all. And future for people in that country is really hard and difficult. So young people, often young people or families, started walking, literally started walking from the war or from the dictatorial situation. And they walked to the next country, crossing the border. And then from Syria, the next country is Turkey. Millions of refugees are stranded in the eastern part of Turkey. Millions, literally. It's shocking to have that number in your head. Still now, there are refugee camps with 3 million people living there. That is so much people. Now, people who come to Turkey, they pass through and they go through the country to Greece. And there they need to go in a boat, because from Turkey to Greece, that's water. So this is literally where people step in, pay a lot of money, and then step into the rubber boats with their children, with their loved ones, and they hope and pray that they come out of the water alive. We all know that lots of people don't come out of the water alive, because halfway maybe the boat gets broken, or they are being robbed, or lots of things happening. From Eritrea, people coming through Sudan and through Libya, and in Libya they have to pay lots and lots of money to get into another rubber boat, and they strand in Italy most of the times. So the moment when a refugee from one of those areas of the world strands in a European country, then the whole system starts working. And coming from specific countries, you are or you aren't able to get status in a European country. So whenever you come from, like nowadays from Ethiopia, it is said, and you cannot get one or another European country. It's impossible. So you have to stay in Italy, and they just send you back. That is what's happening. Now, the people who can, they come and maybe they go walking or by train or by bus or by hitchhiking, or they find ways to come to the Netherlands in this case. Of course, in all kinds of countries in Europe, people strand and end up. Like Germany has a lot of people, Belgium have a lot of people, and we also have. And in 2015, we all, in the Netherlands, we were like, there was this shock wave of, oh my God, how in earth can we help these tens of thousands of people? Because 90,000 people entered Holland. And when you know a bit of your geography, what is that word? Anyway, if you know your planet, you know the Netherlands are really small. So 90,000 people, there's a lot of people coming in. So the moment someone enters in the Netherlands, they come to this refugee center. It's called refugee center. Big, maybe old defense, like a defense home, like a, how's that called? Kaserne.
From the military.
Military places. Thanks, Ingun. So military, abandoned military places, or old monasteries, or we have also set up camps with with campers or with tents, and we needed to house the people. Now, from that point on, the legal process starts. And the legal process is, are you allowed to stay in the Netherlands? And are you allowed to get your status? Yeah. Inburgering is not in a way to be translated. I'm just reading the post of Marta saying that's really difficult. Well, maybe we'll find the translation. So being in the refugee center, you need to wait. You need to wait for the legal status to arrive or not to arrive. That could take a year, 2 years, sometimes 3 years for people to wait. And the Dutch law is so and was so up to now, and maybe up to 2020 it stays, that if you are in the refugee camp, you're not allowed to do anything. You cannot learn the language, you cannot work, you cannot do voluntary work, you can do nothing. You can just sit and wait, get your meals, they provide you with, you can wash your clothes, you can walk around, but you cannot do anything useful for the society or for whatever. So that makes really the energy of people really goes down. Of course, there's a lot of people coming alone, like men or sometimes women come alone, even without their friends or without their children or without their husbands or wives. And that is, of course, an extra worry in their heads, because how are they doing in our country? Are they safe? Is everything good? And are they well? So being in this refugee center, waiting, and knowing that your loved ones are still in your own country, that's hard. That's physically and also mentally very, very hard. Now then the moment comes that you get your status. That means you have a permit to stay for 5 years, and then the status will be reevaluated. So 5 years you can stay, and then you are being housed in one of the municipalities in the Netherlands. One in a city, could be a village, but there's a promille percentage of every city that they have to take care of refugees. Now then people come, find their place, and they get a house. They get a loan to furniture the house. They get an unemployment benefit from the municipality, so social welfare. And they get 10,000 euros, and that is the money they can use to buy their language, the Dutch language, and the integration course. Thank you, Marta. To pay for the integration course. And they have to find it themselves. Now picture this. You come from Eritrea. You're a single woman. You ended up in the Netherlands. God knows how. And then they say, here you have 10,000 euro. It's being kept by the government, but still you can spend it. And you find your own language course and your own language institute to teach you the Dutch language. Well, that is, of course, very difficult. So now, Vluchtelingenwerk is called the organization that is involved in housing and helping the refugees when they arrive in a new city or a new place. They are really helpful in that stage to help people to go. The municipality that gives money to the refugees reserves for every person 8 to 10 years of money. They put it aside, thinking that everybody is staying in the welfare, in the social services for 8 to 10 years. That is so much money, people. That is so much money. So, for instance, the place where we work now, that is called Veldhoven, really small town. They have 200 refugees, and the money that is involved in which is preserved for them to pay the social benefits is 24 million euros. 24 million euros. So picture Amsterdam, picture Utrecht, picture big cities, Eindhoven, which have 250, 500,000 inhabitants. And picture millions, billions of euros that is stuck because we think, the Dutch people think, these people cannot work sooner than 8 to 10 years and participate. Now that was a big trigger for me. Being asked to put in jump movement in helping refugees, I thought this needs to be much bigger handled, because how can we allow ourselves to look at people who really are motivated to get more out of their lives because they saved their own lives up to now? How can we allow this to happen? And I said to Mark, my business partner, I'm not allowing it. And he also said, we cannot allow that. So let's build a company around the idea that everybody wants to join in. That is actually our mission. I'm joining in. It's called in Dutch, ik doe mee in Nederland. I'm joining in the Netherlands. That's translated. Everybody signed their name to do it. So we said, we are not going to take years and years. We are stating that in 1 year, we want to teach Dutch to the people and we want to offer them a job so that they can go out of the social services and be on their own and independent. Now we started off last November in 2017. And up to this point, we have been able to get 21 people in a job, offer them work. They are out of the social services and they are on their own 2 feet, independent and free. And that is so amazing to discover that it works. Now, how are we doing this? Because actually we're not doing so much. And that is one of the big strong points of our company, IamNL, because there are some beliefs that I have around change, and that they are implemented in jump movement. So you would not be surprised that the fundamentals of IamNL are based on jump movement. And in jump movement, for example, we say everybody has their own answer. I cannot give you your answer. I cannot say what is right for you. You need to find your own next step. And of course, if they put me in Timbuktu or whatever place, I would not know how to handle it. But if there was somebody who would say to me, I believe in you and I feel that you have a really strong motivation to make it, what is your next step? And I would say, oh, I might want to, I don't know, learn some words. They would say, that's a good plan. How can you do that? I would feel empowered. Instead of someone who would take me in the arm and saying, so now you need to do this, now you need to do that, now you need to do this. So take me along. So I would feel more dependent. So we are really looking at people as make their own mistakes, but also can make their own successes. And by doing that, it's very interesting what's happening, because the motivation level of our co-workers, because we call them co-workers because this is a startup company, of the co-workers is really rising every day. Sometimes we have people saying, oh, I don't know about work, I'm not capable, I'm not ready yet. And then a week later they say, okay, Ineke, I want to have work too. And then I say, that's a good plan. What would you want to do? And they say, maybe I want to work in logistics. I say, okay, let's find you a job. And I'll just go out and find them a job and bring them there. Because I know how difficult it is, because we have such a complicated society here. This is terrible. We are so into forms and structures and systems and procedures and rules and regulations. It is crazy. And this is how we are. So I think when you see your career ladder as literally a ladder, the first step is the first step. And then the second comes, and then the third comes, and then the fourth. That's how it works. So we just have to get people on the first ladder. And that's what we're doing. When they're on the first step of the ladder, we stay with them for 2 years. Because we say, we cannot let you fall off if you fall, we help you up again. Because of course, when you want to try to ride a bike, of course you fall sometimes. That's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. But it's good to have someone standing beside you saying, it's not a problem. Just go back on your bike and start again. I'll just help you a bit, and I'll help you a bit, and then I'll let you go again. Now that is very cool, because we see lots of empowered people and lots of people who are, going to the first step of the ladder, of the career ladder. We have Dutch language is very important. There's a good language institute. It's called Regina Cheli. It's very, very high standard Dutch lessons, because of course we have a high ambition, being able to teach people Dutch within the year. And it's also working, because the integration courses are really getting finalized by more than half of our people. So that's really cool to look at. The high standard of Dutch lessons, the very small groups, the intense training, the very, very good teachers that we have. And every morning, like 5 days a week, every morning 4 hours is solely based on Dutch lessons. It's very intense. People are really tired around lunch. They're really tired. And in the afternoon, lots of them are staying in the study modus. And they keep on having homework and starting Dutch conversation with each other, or with us, or with some volunteers that we bring into IamNL to help us to just talk Dutch, because that is really interesting. When you talk more Dutch, it's very good. Some of the people go to the supermarket where you have those free coffee corners. They just sit there, have a little coffee, and then someone else comes in and say, Goedemorgen. And just start talking Dutch, which I like a lot, because they're so proactive that they say, well, where can we speak Dutch? At the supermarket. So they just go there and do that, which is very nice. Now, in the afternoons, it's always around work or mindset. We jump a lot. We do the jump conversation a lot. So language, mindset, skills, and looking at jobs, because it's also a very interesting difference between what we do, what our society calls work, and where they come from, because all our co-workers worked in the country that they came from, but here you need to have a job, which is very complicated, because having a job comes with your contract and your CAO, the rules and regulations that the government say, and you have your proeftijd. What is that? Your testing time, testing period. Lots of rules. So they are scary to people who don't know this system. So the first time they have to experience it, and then they know. You cannot teach this in a lesson. This is something in the integration course that people are being taught, how the system in the Netherlands works. So when you get it in a lesson, it doesn't stick, because it's so complicated that it's going here, in here, and out there. So the moment that they experience their first job and encountering a temporary contract, which is very normal, get your first contract is 6 or 7 months. They're scared. They say, oh my God, what do I do after the 7 months? And then I say, just relax. They will give you new contracts. And if they don't, we'll bring you to another job. Don't worry. There is so much work at the moment. But the problem is the idea, so the mindset around work, that is really complicated here. And it is really complicated. Yeah, so today I visited Philips. Philips, you know, the big electronics company, which are really involved into healthcare at the moment. 5 of our people just regularly visit the places where people work. And one of the people said to me, you know, Ineke, my food tastes different. Now I earn it. Now I earn my money.
Yes.
That is so amazing. And he said, my wife respects me again. And he says, I can learn a new thing every day. He already got 4 certificates inside the company where he learns a lot around electronics and assembling the big X-ray machines that Philips is creating. It's amazing to look at it. I have so many stories of people who are really happy working in a machine factory. I mean, it's not the sexiest job, but they're working, and they belong to a company. They have colleagues. They earn their own money. They contribute. They give back, because that is something they all of them like. Yeah.
Okay, Ineke, I think there's you have already shared so much, and I know there's where does this where do we go? What do I tell? I think there will be a lot of questions. Well, at least I have mine writing with.
Good.
Have some questions. Well, first of all, I just love that you start with your love story. I just love that. It is a lot of people are, so ignorant of what is happening that most of the time it is something very personal that happens before people do get involved. Mm-hmm. So it's, I love it that you share your love story, because that is important. That is a reason why, although it started 30 years ago, no, it's less.
No, but it's like the circle is round.
Yes. Yeah. It's coming together. And I know, for instance, Marta, she has a very multicultural family, so she probably feels what you're going through.
You can relate to that, Marta.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Ah, that's cool.
Yes. She had a husband from Nigeria, so it's a little bit similar. Yeah. But it is important that people do feel what is going on, and I love that also about your story. It is the storytelling that people start feeling about what is going on. I would like to, there's one of our ambassadors here in the Netherlands. She wrote a book, Do I Stay or Do I Go? And it's written very much from the perspective of the refugee and their really difficult process that they're going through before they leave. Your story starts when they leave. Mm-hmm. But there's this whole story, when does someone decide to leave their home country? Because that is a really hard decision. So it's not like they just drop in here and we have to solve their problem. It is really hard
it's so difficult, and I think lots of the people I work with and who are so close to me at the moment are already crossed a lot of boundaries, personal boundaries, before they started to really deciding to go, because you need to leave everything behind.
Yes. Yeah. And you're almost treated like criminals.
It's nothing.
You're right.
The clothes that you wear, maybe too wet.
Yeah. Yeah. They almost treat you like criminals. It's coming into this country and being put in that camp and not being allowed to do anything.
Exactly.
That's really hard. Yeah. One of the questions I have is, do you involve the families? And I want to Tabella ask a question, but do you involve the families in this whole project? And another question that popped up is, is it only men or is it 50-50? Is there and are men and women both working from one family? Do you have any idea?
Good questions. Yeah. We profile ourselves as a company, and we want to be as pure as we can to be a company. So when you're working in a company and you have personal problems, there is always a person where you can talk to, but there are not psychologists, they're not the house doctor, they're not specialists on the field of caretaking in that sense. So that's the same that we do. So we signal, we of course we hear stories, and I always wait for the question of help. So the moment someone says, could you please help me with this situation I'm dealing with, I can always refer them to someone else.
Okay.
So the family, there's children coming in, women, the wives are coming in, but we don't, that's also like when you do that on the work floor, you just invite your family sometimes. And they're so welcome to stay with us, but we don't do activities for them. We are based, our goals are really clear. We want to teach you Dutch and we want to bring it to your work. And we love you. You're part of the family. So that's why you're always welcome with your wife and with your children. So that is, of course, we are open to that. So sometimes when one of our co-workers is having difficulties in caretaking, my daughter is coming in. In the caretaking of the children, and they say, oh, the childcare is, I don't know, we cannot go there today. Can we bring the little one? And I always say, yeah, bring her, because I love it. I'm a grandma, so I'm always like fond of little children. But we are not a daycare. So sometimes we just, of course, we allow them to come.
Yeah.
When there are traumas, when there are really difficult mental situations, we have a group of good therapists and good people and good specialists to help. We always refer them. We always do that. I never ask someone for their personal story. They share it if they decide to or not. Okay. I'm respecting the boundary of a person, because it can be really offending if you ask, how did you come to the Netherlands? Mm-hmm. Did you go by boat or by plane? That can be really hurtful for someone to share. So what we notice is that over the months that we started, people are opening up and just in a random situation, sitting there having some tea with them, they start telling their story or even showing pictures of the boat that they were in. And that is heartbreaking. I can tell you.
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, going back to the women, because there are women involved.
Oh yeah.
Are they working, or do they want to work, or are they learning the language, or?
Oh, most of the women are really clever, really smart. Sometimes smarter than the men. No, but there's this. What did you say?
We didn't record that.
Okay. No, the men are really smart. I love them, but they also say my wife is smarter. Lots of them. No, we have 6 women and 85 men. That's not a good balance.
No.
But it is actually, I think it's like a good mirroring of the situation in the Netherlands in general for refugees, because the family, when they have children, the family is really important, and the balance and the rest in the house is really important, and the wives, the mothers, often take care of that. Now, they come, of course, and visit IamNL, and they come and of course, I talk to them, and they often have a higher level of education than their husbands. And they want to work, but they cannot work full-time. So we try to help people get out of the social security system. And that means that you need to be able to work at least 28 hours a week. Preferably 32, like 4 days a week, because then you have enough money to get out of the social services. And the women often like to work for a few days a week or a few hours, like part-time jobs. We don't work with that because that is not our goal. But still, of course, when someone comes in and say, Ineke, can you just give me an advice for this and this? Of course, I do that. But they're not working in IamNL. We have 6 women. They're all going to work full time because they're alone, or they're single moms, or they're just single here in the Netherlands. We have one couple, one wife and husband, and they decided both of them go and work 3 days, which is really cool because they are together in the project.
Okay. Yeah. What is their cultural background? Where are they coming?
They are Syrian. Okay.
Is this something that you see more often in that country, that they really divide, share the responsibilities of parents?
No, they have really strict areas of responsibility in general. These people, this couple is a bit older, and they are already grandparents. Their grandchildren also are here, and they just want to have some time, both of them, for the children. So I think they're really clever to get into this solution, because when they work 3 days, both of them, they also can drop out of the social services, and then they're fine. Yeah. Then they're independent. That is a very big thing that they feel. We don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. We don't want to hold up our hands. We did it already too long. Mm-hmm. We are healthy, and we want to take care of ourselves. So that's a good drive, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, let me go to the questions that I see here. Tabello asks, how are the children affected by all these major changes, and how does your organization help them with dealing with the trauma caused by all the changes? Well, I think you already...
Yeah, I think I answered, but what I hear, the children are doing actually very good, because they are so adaptable and so flexible, and they learn the language very fast. So when they come into our company and into the building, we just speak fluently Dutch. And that is a problem in the housing. So sometimes they need to have maybe Arabic lessons to stay in the native language a bit. See, that is the other way around. Children are actually very easy, and sometimes they are traumatized, but the school is really taking care of that. Yeah.
Okay. I have a question from Namita. Sorry, I logged in a little bit later, so you might have mentioned this before. What is your business model? Also, how do you work together with the municipality? Very important question. Well, you told us a little bit about the millions that they have reserved for... Yeah, but please do share. So the business model is the fact that I think she didn't pick up on that. She was late, so it was the government has reserved money for 8 to 10 years Social Security. So that is the money that IamNL uses.
Yeah, I had a really unstable connection the last few minutes when you were talking. So
okay.
What question? The business model of IamNL, you want to know?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, normally when there are projects like these, it's being subsidized by the government or by the... We have no subsidy. So what we have is it's called a social impact bond, which is it's a triangle based on the coalition of parties. One is a municipality with a problem, in this case, not participating or in, and then for the daily living. Then we have a company that says, I have a solution, that is IamNL. I think we have a solution to that problem. And then you have that's saying, I could make a loan. I could offer this company or this construct money, and it's a loan, and it needs to be paid back with interest. And the moment the people find a job, they get out of the services, and the money that is being saved is being used to return the fund and the investment. So actually the municipality is paying, but afterwards only when we have success. When you're being subsidized, you get a lot of money on front, and the risk of that money is by the municipality or by the government. Now the risk is with the entrepreneur, it's with us. Because if we don't succeed, we have a big problem with our bank, who is saying, come back with the money and the interest. See? So this is why I think it's nice to have this business model, because we are driven to success. I've been working in the social field years ago as a director. That was about 20 years ago when I worked there. There were subsidies coming in. We did our thing, and we told them what we did with it. We we would say, okay, this is our report of what we did, and it succeeded, or sorry, it didn't succeed, but the money was gone. For me, it was not challenging for me. So that's why I stopped that job, and started to be an entrepreneur 17, 18 years ago. And so this is very, very interesting, to be more of a entrepreneurial basis rather than a subsidized basis. Because I think the energy in the company, in all of the company, is different.
Yeah.
Is that the answer? I think so, huh?
I think so, yes. It's, Marta, your company's story is impressive and takes away the negative view on refugees and independency. Do you invite people, neighbors, and or tell a lot of stories to help to change this sad and bad point of view towards refugees?
Yeah, of course. Yes, we tell a lot of stories. Mm-hmm. We invite the neighbors, we invite everybody. Everybody is welcome to have coffee with us. Lots of people are coming, actually, which is cool. Mm-hmm. And when you look at my LinkedIn profile, for example, or my Facebook, I always post the successes. Mm-hmm. Or I posted, like the other week, I posted a little movie with me and Osama, and he verbalized that he wanted to be a driver. He has his Dutch driver's license, which is very good, and he wants to have a job as a driver. It's being viewed over 16,000 times in our social media. So that is amazing. Giving the vibe of him, we had this really spontaneous recording, giving the vibe back to the world. And he has a lot of leads for jobs. I think this week he will be succeeding in finding a job as a driver. So now the other guys come up to me saying, I also want this movie.
Yes.
So I say, yeah, let's do it.
It works.
That's crazy.
And the good thing is, and I like that, is your starting point is not the negative image. Your starting point always positive.
I mean, Ingo, when you travel from Syria walking with your suitcase, maybe if you have one, and your children, and you end up here, I only can do this. You're bigger than me.
Yes.
You are bigger than me.
Yeah.
Huh? So
I have another question. A lot of people come from countries where entrepreneurship is much more common than having that job. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of people there who are very well educated and have been entrepreneurs before. So is in IamNL, is it also allowed? Are they able to start their own business if they would like to?
Sure. Why not?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
No. Sure. I think you need to be a little bit more bold to be an entrepreneur when you are a refugee. I mean, as a Dutch person, become an entrepreneur is already challenging, I think. I know lots of entrepreneurs who are really struggling to stay alive financially, for example. So when they ask me, what is your advice? I always refer to the career ladder, saying, okay, now you're not on the ladder because you have your unemployment benefit from the municipalities. You're not on the ladder. So when you want to have your first step on the ladder, I think it's a cool one to have one where you can get more experience in how does the Dutch system work. Mm-hmm. And of course, you want to be independent. You want to be having your own company because you had that in your country. I think it's great. And look at the idea. So think of the idea, how it would be to start off with a job in your own. Like we have a very, very cool carpenter. He is like skilled to the max. He has had jobs in Lebanon and in Kuwait and in Syria. He is so highly skilled. He wants to be an entrepreneur. But he says, let me just do for half a year work in a company, and from that point I will go and fly my own thing. Mm-hmm. I think that's very wise.
Yes. Yeah.
Very, very wise, because it's so complicated with the law and the tax system and everything you need to do and not do. And for Dutch people, it's already rather difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but I applaud it. I applaud everybody who wants to be independent, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, what you said, Ingun, is true, because everybody worked in their own country. Everybody worked. And there's so broad experience, because when the work was that we have this Osama, he's actually hoe heet dat? Kleermaker. What's the word? Kleermaker. Help. Tailor. He's a tailor.
Thank you, Marta.
He's a tailor. He worked as a tailor for years and years, up to the point he sewed very cool suits for men. Very nice. He showed me pictures. Up to the point that the Chinese and Turkish market took over the Syrian market with clothing. Mm-hmm. Cheap clothing. And he could not have work anymore. So his father had this car sales garage, selling cars. And he said to him, okay, Osama, you come work with me. So then he became a salesman for cars. Mm-hmm. And he did that for 5-6 years. So he's very skilled in selling. Now, this guy was on a movie with me, selling himself as a driver. Now, he will succeed, of course. So that is something you see a lot. Mm-hmm. So you do the job that is needed. And that is why we have people like, we have this Arabic teacher, he's university schooled. He's telling me, I want to be a carpenter here in the Netherlands. Because I want to learn a job with my hands. Mm-hmm. Because that is something I can do. Mm-hmm. He really thought it over.
Yeah.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, because that's one of the other questions. You know, there's especially, for instance, people from Syria. They're very high educated, most of them. So you see also doctors, dentists, physiotherapists. You know, we're really short on people like that. You know, the Dutch on the Dutch market. Is there a way that they can go back to school and get their diplomas legalized, or?
Yeah. Now, the idea that there are a lot of highly educated people is not true.
Okay.
Not a lot. There's a group.
Okay.
So that is the first thing. And then the second thing is, when you want to go in the health system here, in the care system, it's really hard, because you need to have the Dutch standard of diplomas and licenses. And the Dutch language is your obstacle there. And then that means that they have to step up or step down a bit and then work themselves up. It takes more time. Mm-hmm. It takes really more time. And the Dutch healthcare system is not so open to refugees, I must say. No, because they are really scared of... they're not licensed, and how is safety and insurance and blah, 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 things like that. We have a few women who really want to work in the healthcare, but they cannot enter because they don't have diplomas or not enough Dutch in the schools. Again, just get skills up and your Dutch working, the first step on the ladder. What's the second, what's the third, what's the fourth, what's the fifth, what's the sixth? I mean, maybe 10 you need to get where you want. Yeah. You can get your diploma or you can get your diploma weight here, reevaluated. Mm-hmm. But it's always, when you have university, they scale it down to a high school or maybe even lower. It's always 1-2 steps lower than they had. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
There's another one. It's and I just keep asking questions if no one else does, so I'm working towards the hour. Yeah. You know, female wave of change is very much, and especially in these months that we do these topics on, for instance, the human rights. It is very much about action. You know, it is a female wave of change, wants to take that next step, and we want to contribute to create that better world. So and especially, focus on our feminine values and our feminine energy. How do you think that women around the world, because those will be watching these recordings, how can women in the world contribute to the situation to improving the situation of the refugees wherever they are?
Yeah, attention, 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 attention. That is the thing. Talk to people, look at them, talk to them, say hi in the street, ask them, how are you doing? Just a simple human attention. That is so important, because a lot of people don't get any, Dutch people in general, I think when you give each other attention, something can change. That is the basic. Just say hi, how are you doing? Mm-hmm. Just say hi, I'm happy that you found a safe place, or I'm happy that you're here, or do you like it, or can I help you with something? Or that's already second, third, fourth step. Mm-hmm. There's something I can help you with, or I don't know. Mm-hmm. So when I post this little video with Osama of he wants to find a job as a driver, I get 50 or 70 reactions. The simplest thing. Mm. So when someone in the street saying, I'd love to have a job being a logistics employer, you just find a job for them, because there are plenty of jobs in that market. Mm-hmm. So attention. Don't build any big projects. Just be a neighbor. Just be a neighbor. The people who live next door to you, invite them for dinner, saying, I'd love to invite you for dinner. And just connect, get related. And that is, I think, the biggest core value for the women. And that is the easiest thing also that we women can do. Mm-hmm. Because we feel we know how to connect to another person. We know that. What the metaphor of a family is really alive in IamNL. They call me Mama Ineke. And the older men see me as their sister. Mm-hmm. Which is so nice, because that is a relationship that is so valuable. And I'm not their mother, but I stand for them. And they know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see? I have my weekends and I have my evenings off. Huh? I'm not their mother 24/7, but I'm there with that energy. Mm-hmm. They just can rely on me, saying it will be fine. You will manage. I know it. Yeah. And that's a feminine, motherly energy that I have, which is so cool, because I can use it for the good.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that energy and those values are so important to change things. So thank you for that. Yeah. Are there any other questions? We have 2 more minutes. So
last minute. And they can, when the video is posted, of course, everybody can just keep asking questions, and we'll just answer them in the online environments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Namita, she's raising her hand.
Hi there. Great to hear the story. As I just, it's wonderful to hear and love the talk that you're giving about the refugees. Just wondering, what's your projection for the coming period in the long term or the short term, if you want to share? And what would you need to reach the goal?
Yeah. Thank you, Namita, for your question, and thank you for your compliment. And the short term, of course, is that we want to have work for everybody who's in IamNL at the moment, and they want to have their exams fulfilled. So we want to, that's the short term. We have 21 people working now. Well, at least we want to have 35, 40 people going on full-time jobs so they can be independent. Now for the long term, because if we do our job right, next year we can close the IamNL in Veldhoven because nobody is there. That's actually good, you know. But we want to scale up. So we want to, we're talking to some other municipalities at the moment, and we want to scale up because I'm an entrepreneur. This is my pilot. And we see that it's succeeding, and it's succeeding in because of a number of really good parts, good incentives, and that we can just multiply that. So that's for the long term.
Great. So you could actually replicate your business model.
Oh yes, of course. That is the intention. Because doing it one time successfully, that's cool, but why not 2 or 3 or 10 or 100 or 500?
Exactly. And since you've already got contacts with Philips, maybe the municipality of Eindhoven is a good partner for you.
Yeah. So that's a good demand on the municipality of Eindhoven.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Nanita. Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, I just want to close with saying really big thank you to Ineke. Thank you very much for giving us a lot of inside information on, well, first of all, refugees and how this works coming to Europe. And of course the whole IamNL project, the startup, it's amazing what you're doing, so I really want to applaud you for that. And thank you very much again. And I love to hear, next month it will be empowering, economic empowerment. So I really think it's a challenge, and that is what I, would love to do, to have a session with, or at least on one day, to do as many jump sessions as possible all over the world with women. That would really be empowering. So let's talk about that. And well, for now, thank you very much. And
you're welcome.
we will have recordings online as soon as possible, and we will get back to you with all new and different plans. Thank you for everyone who joined us today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, and take care, all of you, and hope to see you in real life sometime, somewhere, someplace. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.